So you signed the lease, and then you two met in person. Was that the first time you two were meeting?
Yes.
Okay. And what was that like?
It felt okay. The first hiccup was Annika had actually opened my mail when I had moved. I had shipped things from Indianapolis to Los Angeles to be there when I got there since she was already there.
Okay.
Because I moved in a month after we signed the lease.
So you signed a year lease, and what the deposit was $3,900?
Yeah.
Okay, so you both paid $1,950.
Yes.
Okay, so tell me about the living arrangement.
So at first it was okay, but then it just became apparent to me that we weren't compatible as roommates. I had a few hiccups. She, a few times, didn't even let my friends in the house. She would lock people out of my house, and I have evidence for that. Towards the end of the lease, she didn't want me to be in the house, and she wouldn't clean the kitchen well. She had me do the dishes all the time, and I just knew for my mental health that I needed to leave.
The problem then became who was going to leave.
Right. I wanted her to leave first because I found the place.
And Ms. Vaughn, you felt she needed to go.
Yeah, what Annika is saying is not truthful. My issues with her was that she was not respectful of our space. It's kind of like she had her friends over 24/7. I never locked her friends out. I did not want to move because I had just moved 1,800 miles away from my hometown. This is my first time moving to another state. I'm very comfortable in the apartment, and I felt like I really hadn't done anything to have to move.
Okay, so you decided then that it was going to have to be you.
Yeah.
And tell me about the notice that you provided to the landlord.
Yeah, I gave him a 30-day notice, and I gave Demi months of notice beforehand that I was going to be moving out.
How long did you pay rent for?
Up until the lease was over, so October 31st.
Okay, so you paid up until the lease was up, and you renewed, essentially, with a new roommate, and that would be Ms. Branch.
Yes. So Annika, she did not give me ample notice that she was moving. She didn't physically tell me that I'm actually moving until October 4th. And she moved out on the 17th of October. So she only gave me about a 2-week window to find a new roommate. I had to pay November's rent up front by myself because she left.
But the lease was up October 31st.
According to our landlords, the lease was never going to be terminated at all. It was just going to automatically roll over to a month-to-month basis.
So my question for you, Ms. Ross, is why do you believe that they owe you the security deposit and not the landlord?
My landlords told me that they were the ones to return it.
And at some point, Ms. Branch, you were going to pay something towards the security deposit, correct?
Because of my personal financial situation, I was looking for a no deposit situation. When I met Miss Vaughn, she said because of the lease agreement and because the deposit would be transferred over to me as a tenant as per the lease, then when I looked into the lease, it does state that the property management does not have responsibility of it, that it is to be worked out between me and Miss Ross. That is when I even went so far as to speak to Miss Ross personally before I signed anything out of the goodness of my heart, and I told her what I could do with my situation. She wasn't happy with that, and then forwarded this fraudulent letter with a false last name, claiming that I was on their previous lease, which none of that is evident.
Ooh, okay. Do y'all not believe that she is owed a security deposit?
Not through this, absolutely
I don't
not.
think, from me, no. I don't think that I should be paying her for breaking our lease.
How did she break the lease?
Well, she moved out early. I don't really
2 weeks early? Is that what you mean by breaking the lease?
I guess. I don't believe that I owe her a deposit. That's just my stance.
Okay. Judge Juarez.
Okay, do you two still live in the apartment?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so I want to take you on a hypothetical. Let's say tomorrow you guys are moving out, and they say to you, ladies, you have kept this place immaculate. You get your entire $3,900 left. What would you think should happen to the money at that point?
I would assume that the people who paid the deposit would get their halves back.
Ms. Branch, does that sound right to you?
When I spoke to the property manager deliberately said the lease is specifically joint and several, meaning that
Absolutely.
meaning that they are married. So with that, if the whole entire apartment has not been viewed, has not been seen for damages, then they cannot get their deposit back. So I understand your point, but our point is what happens to us. I ain't got no money. I ain't got no
Hold on.
stake.
I'm going to stop you right there because you're assuming that I disagree. Or that I think that she should get half back. Because you and I have something in common, Ms. Branch. We both read this lease very carefully. And we both know exactly what is supposed to happen to the money.